So this is a little surreal, not least because there's nobody here, just me at the top of the hill and the giraffes. So, all sorts of challenges. Drawing the animals at the zoo means we're drawing generally moving creatures, and given that they are exotic animals, we've also got these extraordinary shapes to deal with. So I'm starting with good old continuous line. I've got a red sanguine pastel, and I'm going to cover this page with giraffe sketches. So I've just had enough time to do a kind of outline. So I like these pastel pencils because they can be smudged, they're quick. This orangey brown is pretty good for a giraffe, I think. The pattern could take forever, so I'll just have to be quick about that. But the long neck is a giveaway, so I'm pleased with that. So I could do more, but that's a nice start. So I'll be taking lots of photographs for you to work with. But I think this business of having to draw animals that are moving is a very helpful artistic situation, and I want to try and make suggestions about how those of you that might be working just from photographs where your animal is static, how you can almost recreate some of the useful aspects of the fact that these animals move. And so what does that mean? That means working quickly. It might mean, yeah, timing your work so that you do a few minutes on one view and then you just go straight on to another, even though it's not finished. Because it's so often the unfinished things, I think, that reveal something useful. And also I find, you know, drawing moving animals, I do it quite a lot with children in the holiday courses, and because the animals have moved, they end up having to draw from memory, and that's a really valuable thing. The other thing, of course, we get when they're all moving is all sorts of different compositions, really. It's like a kind of dance, or it's choreography as they change position. So if you can cover a page with your impressions, even if they're drawn from photographs, then you do start to recreate this composition, this group effect, which is already... So he who hesitates is lost. The giant panda, who is probably the most perfect model, not moving at all, has turned around. But I'll demonstrate this technique anyway, because I've got everything ready. So I've got some white paper, some black charcoal, and just some black and white shapes that we can surround with some negative shape green. So you can maybe try this with a more generous front view. So that's just all fingers and charcoal. Could use an eraser as well, but it's quite nice to surround it with something that will bring it out and help you define some of the black and white shapes. Would have been better if we'd seen his face. So I'd like to have a go at the zebras in ink, but I think I'll make my life a little bit easier by trying a little bit of charcoal first. because I want to get the whole shape. Obviously the stripes are so characteristic, but they're not quite horse shape. I think they've got much bigger heads than horses and shorter necks. And I'm just thinking that if I can put down some charcoal shapes first, even smudge them a bit, then when I put in the stripes, I'll have a better chance. Don't think I like that angle. Let's try one over here, which is looking much more characteristic. And it's got that distinct mane. It's like a bit of Bridget Riley kinetic art. Those incredible stripes. So I don't think I'm doing very well here, actually. Let's try ink. So the ink is great because it's so decisive, but what if they all run away? So I want to get back some of that mane. I'm probably banking on pattern being everything. So the legs have got stripy tights on them, go in the other direction, so it's quite nice to get those contours. But I haven't quite got this head. My ink is a bit unruly. I might work on it with some charcoal and chalk after as well. Look at another one. Another head over here. These stripes on the neck seem to be the strongest, and there's that very distinct shape to their, what's that point there? It's the sort of back of their neck, the base of the neck. And the stripes going in. Oh yes, thank you. The stripes on the face are also very distinct. Oh, too much. We need some chalk on that. But these body stripes are great because they really are contours. And a different direction. So that's probably enough, I think. look at that after. I could have surrounded them with green, like the panda. That might have been quite a good move. So this may not be the way to do it. I'm probably a little bit too close to my model here. But it's quite nice to be able to look at faces. So lots of black and white again. And their wonderful waiters, well, their tuxedos. So I'm a bit too close to these guys, but there's also lots in the background. There was one doing some wild swimming and leaping out the water. So anyway, I'm going to start with these close ones, work with my black on white paper, and introduce a bit of yellow. I'm a bit nervous of my ink actually because it's flowing rather too well. But I shouldn't be nervous. Let's do, I think that's a baby back there. Let's do something a bit more, a bit bolder and a bit smaller. As I was saying with giraffes, I've got lots of moving models here. So I want to just cover the page with lots of impressions, and some of them will work, some of them won't. And because there's a bit of spontaneity to having to work quickly, hopefully some will work and some won't, and that's fine. These are studies for something else. I was just a bit tempted by this close-up portraiture opportunity. So because I've got the ink, I'm holding it vertically, it will suddenly all pour off, so I'm just trying to resist that a little bit, which might give me some good greys as well as blacks. An occasional blot. It's funny to see where is it. Oh, there's the eye. Look at that. Wow, I thought the eye was somewhere else. Our model has had his eyes closed all the time. Hoping that touch of yellow will make all the difference, but it may not go on when they're wet. I thought there might be something of a bit of a composition from this point of view, with this colony. And I think again I'm just going to make my life easier with a bit of charcoal first to find some of their different positions, and then I'll put the ink on top. So I think they're both, each has its part to play. And I'm really being challenged with speed. So there we go, have a whole arrangement of them getting smaller. All their different postures. Maybe should have done it on dark paper. So this is the sort of thing I think where the because of the way they spread themselves out in their colony, it's just a composition is presented to you straight away, and there's all that movement between them. So even if individuals aren't actually moving. So I'm hoping that the pelicans will be cooperative models, and this time I'm going to work on black paper, and I'm using the side of some pink pastel just to get their basic shape. They're doing amazing things. They're kind of drying their wings or something. Lots of movement, so I'm getting the first basic shape just in pink that I want to work into. So smudge it a bit, be a slightly lighter pink, and also a little bit of work with the eraser once I see where it's going. I'd quite like to get a whole line of them. I'll just work with one first, and it's, you know, it starts as one model, and then I go on to another one, depending on what they do. It's quite nice with their raised wings as well. And I had a little bit of charcoal because I can rub back to the black, but also it's quite nice to draw into the chalk as well. They've got these black tips to their wings. We need to get a few on the go. Let's try this one over here. Something about them waving their wings to frighten the fish, to herd the fish. Although it doesn't look like there's any fish in this pond. So I want to work a bit between different models, starting with a basic shape and then working into that. And I'm getting bits. The shape of their neck seems to change quite a lot as well. They stretch it and shorten it. And I haven't quite got the beak. Anyway, I think these are a great subject, and I quite happily build up a series of, a group. But let's get some of those distinctive shapes as they turn their. So, in conclusion, here is my clutch of sketches. It was all pretty challenging between the crowds and the moving animals, but what I would encourage you to do is something similar. You'll have the set of photographs that I've attached to the email and video, and if you can vary your materials, vary the paper surfaces that you work on, and perhaps think in terms of working quickly in order to get something of the spontaneity, the almost working from memory experience that you can have if you're working with live animals in front of you, and build up some sheets with several animals almost piling up one on top of the other, and you might find that in itself generates some kind of composition, some sort of dynamic relationship between them, which will hopefully lead to, or will be helpful in the process of making compositions and more complex images. But I think we're still on making studies, and you shouldn't worry if you can't put them together into anything coherent yet. Okay, well, see you tomorrow.